Hi, and welcome to the best thing you watched this week. This is Ruben with Ruby Tuesday and Chris from Movies and Munchies. This is our weekly podcast where we do a YouTube segment, then we do an extra fun segment with entertainment news and specialness in wherever you listen to podcasts. We will be there because we lurk in the dark corners of the podcast world. So if you haven't subscribed to us there yet, please do and rate us because it really does help.
Yes.
And if you want some of this madness, then boy are in for a treat of English non-speaking.
Yes.
And
good talk.
The thing goes up. Yes, and the thing goes down.
Are you on the elevator again?
Yes, I am. And talking about specialness, our Patreon is carrying on, and it's alive. I would be lying if it's saying it's doing amazingly, but it is there, and we're doing content. We're actually enjoying doing it.
Yes.
We've got a really special video going up today. That means it'll be on tomorrow. You can watch it on a Sunday, and that is going to be dad jokes video with a special loser gets a prize.
Is that what that is?
If you want to see Chris lose at a game and win a prize,
bring it on. Bring it on. I am ready.
Then do subscribe to that. I think you'll really enjoy that. It's going to be a really good video.
Yes.
But for now, let's get into the best thing we watched this week on streaming platforms and cinema, in your mind, your dreams, whatever it is that you watched. in that brain of yours, Chris. We're just going to see what Chris watched.
Yes. Well, first, I have a question. Oh, I am not going to ask that question. This is a family friendly show.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Chris has obviously vetted the questions beforehand.
Well, no, I literally pulled a random one out, and here is the question. We are not going to answer this. I mean, you can if you want. I'm not going to answer it though.
Okay.
What is the weirdest place you've had sex?
Yeah.
And
that is a question.
And that doesn't even have to mean location. Anyway, moving on.
Let us know in the comments below if you don't mind.
Please keep that family friendly-ish. I mean, that's how we get families. So there you go. Anyway, moving on. What is something that everyone looks stupid doing?
That's a good question. I think that is relative because some people just have all the talent and the good looks, and they can put on a sock standing up without hobbling over and falling over. But me trying to put on a sock,
I've thrown out my back putting on socks.
Yeah, see, it's a dangerous job. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. People that can do that are probably aliens, and that's a good way to tell. You have an alien detector. If they put on a sock quite easily, standing up, no hobbling about, something's up with that person.
See, I think, and I mean zero offense here, but for most people, wearing high heels is not a glamorous or a successful thing. More often than not, I see now. I feel there are some charities that where men will wear high heels for like a day or a week, and it's a mile in her shoes, something like that, and they call them different things. But it's to it's some of it are for like domestic violence, some of it are for breast cancer. They do different types of things like that. So it has a great point to it. But you get to watch men walk around in high heels, which is hilarious because that is just, we have no business doing that because it's just awkward, and typically the shoes are much smaller than our feet are. But I've seen a lot of women who struggle also with wearing high heels, and they end up more clopping around like a horse than actually walking. And I think that's just the mechanism of, because you're walking on your tiptoes, and it's not like you can go heel toe like you normally would with, a pair of shoes on. And so you just, I think it's a leveling playing field right there because you can't really run in them very, very much. I mean, you maybe scuffle along a little bit, but yeah. Okay. I don't know. Moving on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Terrible question. Won't do that one again. All right. Excuse me. Ruben, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I actually have a lot in my list today, but they're
Really?
probably not going to be stuff that you expect me to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll start at number 7. So I have 7.
Oh my gosh.
And it won't be long on all of them, but yeah. So I haven't watched all of this series. It's one of the things that dropped this week on Netflix, but it was just ridiculous, the amount, especially on Friday, the content that Netflix put out. I was just like, seriously, how does come on, Netflix, think about your creators, your content creators, your reviewers, because there's 24 hours in the day and I can't watch them all.
No.
Anyway, Eternally Confused and Eager for Love is a new Indian Netflix series.
That's on my list.
They're quite you need to watch it.
Okay.
Like, just put it on your list. It's fantastic. I've seen the first episode. There aren't many episodes. They're half an hour each. And my goodness, the main protagonist, he's a virgin, basically. It's a coming of age stuff. His parents are trying to set him up. Everybody's worried for him. He desperately wants to get laid or just experience love and sex and that sort of lifestyle, but he just hasn't experienced it yet. But what makes this brilliant is the internal monologue person that he has going on. And that's where this series shines, because it's him, but it's another voice. It's still a man voice, but it's a deeper, and it's seriously sarcastic, and it seriously brings you down. Like, it's that's never going to work for you. Don't even try that. Are you kidding? I'm going to go and speak to her. Yeah, right. What have you got to go for it? You know, it's that kind of, but it's really funny at the same time, because he ends up, that internal monologue that he ends up arguing with himself a lot. And it's really funny. So you have an example, a situation. He's at a bar with his friends, and he's got his best girlfriend, but not a girlfriend, but a girl, and his best guy friend, one from an office, and they're sitting down, and they're trying to talk him into going over to this beautiful lady to, you know, try and ask her out. And at the same time, you've got this internal monologue over stuff that's going on. So they're saying, yeah, and he's in internal monologue just saying, yeah, totally, tell them the truth that you're still a virgin. He said, no. And then they're like, do you need some help? Did something happen to you? So his friends are also worried about him. It's just this constant barrage of people trying to control him until he snaps and he does something. And for like that one scene, he goes up to the woman and he goes, I think you want to make love to me. And her response is to chuck a glass of wine on him, because obviously that is not a great opening line. I mean, fair play to the ballsiness of it, but so I was immediately invested in him. It's very well filmed. English, I think. So it automatically went to English, but it's Indian accents. So, right? And it doesn't sound like it's dubbed. So I do wonder if that's the case. I'll have to go back and check. But very well done. High quality production. After one episode, I loved it. So recommending this for everybody to watch.
Nice. Well, the premise, there's this movie that I saw at South by Southwest last year, and I'm not sure if it's even come out yet still, but it's called Violet, and it's with Olivia Munn. And she has, the whole premise is that she has this internal voice also that is like that. It is very down on her, and it's very, it's over the course of this. Now, this isn't really a comedy. It's more of a drama, but it's her fighting against that, and it's telling her all of these negative things, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And you should just be quiet, go along with the flow. Don't stand up for yourself, all of these things, until she finally snaps, until she finally decides to stand up and do something. And so that one really worked. I mean, it's great for discussions. It's great for internal introspection. But this one, it was on my list, so I'm glad to hear that it is
it's
fun.
so good. I'm definitely going to go back and watch the rest and, review it, because I think it deserves people's eyeballs to get on it, and we can bring more of that to them. So
nice. All right. Well, following in your footsteps there with something on Netflix that I have only started. It came out on Thursday, and I've only seen the first episode. It's like 8 episodes, and they're each an hour long. So it's a hefty one. It's a Belgian series called Soil.
I didn't get to this. Yeah, I wondered if it was any good.
So the first episode, okay, so basically you have this premise is that in Belgium, you have a lot of people from Morocco who have immigrated there. And when they die, they don't want to be buried in Belgian soil. They want to be buried in their home soil. So,
Right.
which that means then is that their bodies are sent back to Morocco to be buried, but that leaves their loved ones really far away. So it causes this conundrum, and it's an expensive process to be able to send your loved one to be buried in a different country that you're currently in. And so you have a dad who owns this business that ships the bodies and takes care of all of that. A daughter and her husband that work there, and then the son of the father, who he is, I don't know, mid-20s, maybe something like that, late 20s. And he's kind of like, you look at it almost like as the gig economy. Like he's trying to do something different. He doesn't want a behind the desk 9-to-5 job. He wants something, he's like an inventor. He's just got great ideas, or at least ideas. And so he's trying to make his own place in the world and not follow exactly in his father's footsteps. He doesn't want to do that. He stumbles upon the idea over several mishaps of what if we bring soil from Morocco into Belgium, and we then provide that service to allow people to be buried in their.
That is so different.
Great concept, and I wasn't sure. And I've only seen one of the 8 episodes, but the tone of it is really balanced well, because you have some good drama that's building, because there are a lot of relationship issues that are being navigated. I mean, the father-son relationship, the son-daughter relationship. I mean, even the daughter and the father relationship, and then the son-in-law, who is this scheming, slimy guy who he's only out for himself, except he pretends, to be on the dad's side, all this stuff. I mean, he's just a brown noser and everything. And then you have the son has this best friend who's, you want to call him an idiot, but he's not an idiot. He's not. He's very smart too. He's just kind of weird, and they balance off of each other really well. It is a good mix of funny and drama. And while I'm not sure if it has enough story content or how they're going to stretch it out over the course of this series, that might get a little tiresome. The first episode contained enough to really hook me in. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to watch more of this. And I think that's something that is going to be binged this weekend to hopefully finish that out. Yeah.
Okay.
Great surprise.
Nice. Yeah, I wondered if it was worth the 8 hours. Sounds like it is.
So far, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a bit of a weird one. It's only 50 minutes long. It's called Adam by Eve, and it's essentially a music video. Okay. It literally is a bunch of songs by this artist, and apparently a lot of people really like this artist, which is Eve, I think. And it's also a play on the story of Adam and Eve, although I didn't see it. And it is also an amalgamation of live action storytelling, animation, proper anime, and there's a whole 7-minute sequence that's like just anime. And then there's this story, the theme that there is this monster with with one eye that it is stealing people, and like within the dream world. It's kind of like a theme that you have to decipher for yourself, because it goes from music video with lavish set pieces like that are just incredible. Like, man, very, very cool design. Then we'll jump into some sort of live action storytelling with the music from obviously the artist behind it, and then it'll jump into like anime. And it was just a really interesting creative endeavor. I'm not sure that I could watch a series of it, which I think was a really smart idea, just to do a 45-minute sequence of it. But I'm really glad that Netflix are doing things like this, where they take chances on these weird creative endeavors. You'll see them now and again. They'll just put something random. There was one a while ago that was also just a music video. It was like a half an hour long, but it was just all animation from a particular artist that got together with the collaboration and animated it. And this is along the same lines, although this has multiple genres from live action, anime, all that kind of things going on in it. Well worth a 15-minute watch. The music isn't my cup of tea, but it worked for what was going on.
Nice. What is the music? What genre is the music?
Like a mixture of pop and rock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like our traditional rock. It's like pop rock. It does change up. It's like, you know, I'm probably going to offend a few people, but you get a lot of those dancing groups in anime. You know, you put those two and two together, where you get dancing groups and people are doing like there is a particular genre, and I can't think of it now. But if you mix that in with a bit of rock, then that's kind of what you get, soft rock. But that's why I call it pop rock.
Sure.
Very quirky, bubbly, sometimes a bit edgy, a bit like meme lord. If I'm wearing a black coat and wearing makeup, but I'm in the anime world rather than being a goth, it's that sort of feeling. If you put anime in Evanescence, but it's lighter than that. See, it's really out there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. What's next on your list?
Cool. Well, continuing on the music angle then, this is something that did stream, and I think you can probably rewatch it on YouTube, but it is a St. Patrick's Day concert for Dropkick Murphys. And I love Dropkick Murphys. They're Boston, they're a Boston punk band with a massive Irish flair to them, and just so good. They've done it. They do a St. Patrick's Day show every year in Boston. And once COVID hit and the pandemic hit, and they had this bit, just everybody got locked down and shut down. They did a streaming only concert because that's all they could do.
Nice.
And so for the past 2 years, they've done that. And then this year they streamed it as well. So those of us that don't live in Boston and couldn't go there got to experience it also.
So they did a live concert, but in conjunction with streaming.
Yeah. So you have the crowd there, and it is a proper concert. I mean, it was 2.5 hours of them playing, and it was awesome. So, I mean, if you're not into the music, sure, it's not going to be that, but just, I mean, you get, and it's not nonstop music, just like you would go to any concert. There's stories that they, the lead singer will talk, take 2 minutes to tell a story or whatever. One of their band members, one of the other lead singers, he wasn't there, so they cut out a couple of the songs that he would normally be the lead on, just because he was dealing with some family issues. But overall, I mean, the music is great. They did some new stuff. They did a lot of their old stuff, and then they did an encore, which I wasn't sure they were going to do, because in a non-live setting, or at least a non in-person setting, to do an encore is very weird. You know what I mean? Like you end, and then the stage goes dark for a few minutes, and it just sits there, and you have nobody chanting or anything else. And then, to come back. But in here, I mean, you have "Let's Go Murphys," and just growing and growing. And then, 5 minutes later, the band comes back out, and then they sang, I don't know, 3 or 4 more songs. And it's just a lot of fun. Great. So you could watch it on, it's probably still available on YouTube, maybe even on Facebook.
Is this something that's spawned from your younger years that you started following? So they're a new follow. Okay.
Well, not new follow. No, I mean, it's been 20 years. Okay. I think since I've listened to them, since I've been listening to them, something like that, 15, 20 years ish, somewhere around there. So, I really enjoy them. A lot of the songs, and they're very, like, I like punk music, and I like all kinds of genres, really. I mean, I'll listen to pretty much anything. I just like I like it when things have some melody to them also. Yeah. Like I've gone to a ton of metal shows with my boys, and because I used to go with them
as in heavy metal.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, like proper hardcore metal,
like almost death metal sort of thing.
Not as dark as that in lyrics wise, but the tone, the music itself, And so when my oldest son was probably 13, 14, something like that. Took him to a couple of shows, and those weren't like the harder metal. Those were just the intro into metal.
Nice.
And so I would take him because he couldn't drive himself, and wasn't just going to drop him off at some, club and just walk away. So I went, and I got to find out through that. I picked up a couple of bands that I really enjoyed.
Nice.
And so then I would go also, and then I took them
Awesome.
to one of the metal concerts because I was really loving it. I fell asleep one time at a metal concert.
Wow.
Also, it was like this weird experimental industrial type of I don't know what it was.
No.
No, I was just standing there, and literally because it was mostly instrumental, and it was a lot of synth, and it really put me to sleep. Like I was just like, oh wow, okay, just lulled me right to sleep. And as a kid, I used to listen to like a lot of hard rock, and I would fall asleep to that too.
Wow.
If it's just I don't know. Anyway, but no, so Dropkick Murphys, if you're a fan, their St. Patrick's Day show is available on YouTube. There you go.
Nice.
And if you're not a fan, or if you've never listened to them, give them a listen.
But what happens if you're not a fan, Chris? You wouldn't give them a listen.
That's okay.
Would you?
Well, if you've never listened to them, if you're not yet a fan, not necessarily not a fan, if you hate them, yes, listen to them. That hate on them more.
I actually watched the beginning of the YouTube concert of your excitedness. Yeah, it was an interesting intro. Took a long time to get there.
Yes.
And so I skipped a lot, and I was like, yeah. And then they really rocked out. Like, they come out swinging. It was great. Turn your headphones down if you're listening on headphones, because it's going to distort a bit. But it was great. There's so much energy. My goodness. On stage. And flipping
do you see how old they are, too?
Yeah. Dudes are rocking some oldness, but they're rocking.
Yeah. Oh, no, totally. Yeah. I mean, they're in their 50s. A lot of them. And
when I get to my 50s, I want to have that much energy.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Next on my list, this is number 5 for me, and it's called Human Resources. It's a new Netflix original animated series. It's adult. It is the most adult series that you've probably seen so far, so don't let your kiddies watch this by mistake. Oh, there's a nice little animation series. Let's stick that on. Look at the cute designs. And like within seconds, there's like an orgy with monsters. So it's a spin-off from Big Mouth. If you've seen that, another Netflix original. This one, basically, if you take the concept of every human gets their own monsters, and what the monsters are is your love bug, your logic monster, all the things that help us get through life are represented as in monsters. And so you have this whole network. Think adult version of Inside, Disney Pixar's Inside, okay, but and just way adult. Like if you think Robot Chicken is bad, or Police, there was this other one, Police something on Netflix, Police HD, whatever. Anyway, it's really out there. A lot of swearing, a lot of sex, and I really wasn't into it for the first couple of episodes until I started understanding what the show was actually about, and how it is representing us. What's interesting is that the journey, the actual emotions, or the love bug, or the logic characters have to go on, even though they're humans, are meant to be learning stuff about life. They learn stuff about life, which I guess means that the humans are learning stuff about life because that's them. There's also this weird crossover. I'm not quite sure where it fits in the reality of world, although we're talking about an animation series, is that one person's set of one person's set of monsters shouldn't be able to see the other person's set of monsters. But there are moments where, one particular storyline where one kind of does, and you're like, well, what does that mean for the whole universe? Is this real? So there's things and storylines that are playing along, and because of the character growth, once you get to the end, there's this whole big blackout. Something has gone wrong in episode 10, and because of their character growth, there's like a team, a camaraderie. There's still those characters that you're gonna love to hate, and those characters that you're gonna love to love, and those characters you're gonna like. This is the character that if the series was gonna get banned, it'll be whatever that series, that character says. Oh. It's just like so risky, so racist, so out there.
Oh, wow.
But they don't pick and choose. Everything is up for grabs, which I think when it comes for that sort of series, then it won't be for everybody.
Equal opportunity offenders, right?
My parents would not last a minute in this, but if you like a bit of raunchy, really out there humor, if you've seen Big Mouth, then you're going to enjoy this.
Do you have to have seen Big Mouth?
You don't. There are some references, and there are some things that you'll understand better. But as a whole, it's a separate story. Big Mouth is in this because it's one of the main monster characters. But yeah, very interesting, very different.
Okay. All right. I rewatched 1995's Michael Mann crime thriller action drama Heat again this week. Let me tell you, there is nothing more spectacular than that bank shootout, or that shootout after the bank heist in downtown LA.
It's the thing that people aspire to be. Like if you're making a car chase, if you're doing a shootout in the middle of the street from one location that's moving out into the street, that's what you want.
The fact too that you feel all the buildup, but it is like it's Val Kilmer's decisiveness, like instant decisiveness. You know, as they're walking out to the car, everybody else is in the car except for Val Kilmer. And as he walks in, when he sees the cops, it's not even a hesitation. It is gun up, just shooting. And you're like, whoa, because we are right into it. Yeah. You know what I mean? The tension has built, but there's none of this like, ooh, are we going to shoot? Are we not going to shoot? No, it is. And then it is all out. But you know, one of the things was, so the sound design in that is spectacular because you just have that echoing through LA, you know, even with the, you know, the screams in the car, you know, the traffic sounds and everything else. But then, so that one's very, very noisy, very chaotic, you know, a lot of yelling and everything else. Then you take the very end scene where you have Robert De Niro and Al Pacino at the near the runway.
Students study now. Yeah.
It is, there's no dialogue. I mean, you just have the sound of the plane taking off and then nothing, the musical score coming up. And it struck me like there's not any dialogue for a very large chunk of that, you know, and it is just that, it is truly that game of cat and mouse. And, you know, till you get to the very climax,
great choice.
It blows me away every time. Yeah, it is.
You were talking about that scene where there's no dialogue, but we have had that scene with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in the cafe, and I mean that scene alone is worth just showing anybody that wants to understand why film is important. Just sit them down and watch that scene. But the setting up for that silent scene that we get later, so you know you get lines in there like "I will not hesitate." You're just like, oh, and so they're meeting. The thing is, both good and bad, you love the characters. You don't want them to get hurt or die. You know, Val Kilmer's character, oh my gosh. Just thinking about now, I'm like, I don't know if I can go through that again.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, and the amount of actors in this movie.
It's one of the,
too. I mean, it
ridiculous.
Is
yeah.
So many people, but like to have, I mean, even think about before the setup, I mean, just it so well put together from a story standpoint, you know, where you have Robert De Niro being tailed and then he just slams on the brakes and gets out. Let's follow me. We'll go, you know, and they go to get coffee and they just sit there and that begins that super intense conversation. There's, I mean, Natalie Portman, Charlize Theron, you know, the Allstate guy, That's just terrible. I can't remember his name ever. Dennis Haysbert, Danny Trejo.
Of course, Danny's in that as well.
It is a brutal movie, but yet so well executed. And it's not a short one.
No.
But it's one of those that, like, it's not one that I can sit down and just plop on at any given point in time. Like, I have to be ready to watch it. But when I'm ready to watch it, I mean, I'm like there, and I don't feel any time, sucked right into all of it. And it just takes us on such a huge character journey on both sides of it.
I don't think my sons have seen this film. I need to sit them down and watch this. Cinema day. This is teaching day, kids. Sit your butts down.
There you go. Yeah. But you'll enjoy the teaching because it's a spectacular movie. Enjoy it.
Yeah. You might be like, that was so good.
Yeah. Just, oh, goodness.
Great choice.
All right. There you go.
Okay, so talking about my two boys, we went to watch an anime film at the cinema this week called Jujutsu Kaisen 0. So my younger son and I had to catch up on the anime. We had like 7 episodes to watch. And we were like, just like the day before, we were like, yeah, come on, we could do this. And we get to the film and it's like, oh, flipping heck, this is a prequel. So anybody that wants to go and watch a Jujutsu Kaisen movie, you don't need to have watched the series, although there are references to weapons and characters and people that you'll recognize, and the kind of the building of, you're like, oh, now I understand why that character says that, or has that particular line, or looks like that, or is so grumpy, is because of the stuff that happened in this movie. The movie itself is I have this tier list of like really great anime movies, and the top of that at the moment is Mugen Train. I think it came out last year, and that was from an amazing anime series that's just taken the world by storm. And they came out with this film that basically is a whole arc of a manga, but they made it into one film and somehow made it brilliant. And so that's the thing that everybody's like, that's the level. So it comes just below that, I would say, this film. So it's good. Doesn't quite reach that level. It has a bit of a lull. There's a big build up, but when you get to the climactic scenes, man alive, you can see where they've spent their budget. They're like, there's a 45-minute sequence because it's a 2-hour film. You get to that hour and 15-minute mark. They've created the characters. You understand it's dark. Like, it starts off just dark, true anime fashion, killing off somebody that you love, or like the parents, like a Disney movie. You're not allowed to have any parents. So say goodbye to your loved one, sort of thing. This is all based on love. I did do a comparison in my movie review to Harry Potter, which was really funny because it's basically, the whole premise of the film is Lord Voldemort's people want purebloods, right? They don't want any muggles. And in this, the bad guy only wants sorcerers to be in the world, no humans. And then what kind of saves the day is love. But in a weird way. You'd have to watch the film without doing spoilers. But yeah, really spectacular. Well worth watching for the sound design in a cinema. Just doesn't quite compare to the stuff you normally get at home. So, you're getting the scope. You're watching it with people that are anime lovers, which so the vibe and the atmosphere is enough already. But then you have the sword clashing, the music's kicking in for those big action set pieces. And if you've got good speakers, you're like, the sort of reverberation that you feel in your chair, really, really great.
Ooh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have you keep going.
Okay, cool.
I may be able to chime in on some of the things that you've watched, but my week didn't turn out exactly. Yeah. Despite all of the content that I had,
I thought I would be talking about things like Krakow Monsters, but that didn't make my list. And there was a movie that I think we'll talk about after all the best things, because I don't want to spoil the plot. Yeah.
Yeah. No, let's not.
Anyway, okay. So I literally just watched this morning, and it may be one that people have missed because it's not a Netflix original. It's one of them they've just added to their list, but it is a South Korean series. It has 12 episodes. They're all over an hour long. It came out in 2020, so it's 2 years old, but it just came out now on Netflix. They've just bought the rights.
Okay.
So whenever there's any like South Korean content, I'm like, count me in. So this is called The Cursed. So you have a mixture of supernatural and modern day reporting, policing. It's all about this big conglomerate that is like big and evil, and the one person on the top of it seemingly is evil and might be possessed, also might be a shaman. And so the top people just have this like dark cloud above them, and they're controlling everything, like big businesses. They're always people are dying and stuff, but they have so much power, and it's not just like normal people have power at that level. It's because they have the power of like demon spirits and stuff. And then we get our protagonist, and it shows her kind of just in episode 1, shows her what happened to her chronologically. I really appreciated about this series, so that there's no flashbacks. They just show you the thing that happened to them, and then they carry on. So we see her as a little girl, something happens to her, and then we jump 10 years forward, her as an adult, and she has this ability to curse people. But what you need is a photograph of the person. You need one thing that belongs to them, and their name in Japanese, the name in Japanese characters. And if you have those 3 things, then she doesn't need anything else. She can curse them to varying degrees. And like, to give you an example, the one person that she curses, the body ends up being contorted, the hand is broken backwards, the legs are wrong. You're like, oh, okay, she's got some power. So we end up building a good guys team. One is our protagonist, who's this curse team, a reporter, and a policeman who are married, and they're going after this big conglomerate. And you can imagine they've got their work cut out for them. It's very interesting because it's dialogue heavy. But the dialogue is where the story kind of comes alive, because they're really telling you what's going on. And then you get those supernatural moments, which is really fun. Like, I definitely going to go back and watch the rest, even though they're over an hour long, and it's 12 episodes. Like, this is the sort of thing, like, I'm feeling now not too great. You want to grab your duvet, say, everybody leave me alone, and just like, dive in. Come back next morning, go, that was great. Yeah.
What? How are, like, so when they showed that the contorted all person up, it was all mangled. Is it? How are the special effects? I mean,
looks great. Yeah, I mean, it's
good.
an 18,
okay.
So it's adult. It's not
good,
but it's not gore for the sake of gore. It's just it has it where it needs to be. I think it's more 18 for the themes that they have in it. I mean, this is all what I've picked up from episode 1, but I'm very excited to go and see. What happens in the rest. So I do think this is going to be one that people miss on, because it's not on their front page. It's just sometimes they add like 50 to 100 things on one week, and you can miss the stuff like this so easily. But I have saved the day for you. Here it is. Yes, stick it on your watch list.
That's awesome.
Okay, should I?
Well, and that's, well, I was going to say the following along in the lines of them adding things that may not be, there was a movie that I watched last weekend. It came out last week, in the middle of last week, but I watched it over the weekend, and it was called The Bombardment.
Yeah, I just didn't get
it. Was
a
Danish World War II drama, beautifully shot. Oh my gosh! So if you want to watch something that has just spectacular cinematography, watch it. The story is very sad.
It's basically why I don't watch World War II stuff anymore.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's true story. But if you're looking for the escape or anything else, but it came out in like 2021 or 2020, but Netflix just grabbed the rights to it and bought it and brought it out. And so I think I love that they do this, that, I don't care if you slap your name on it and call it an original, whatever, that doesn't bother me at all, because now what you're doing is you're providing something that was only available to a small few, and you're giving it, to the world now. And so we get to experience all these different cultures and different forms of storytelling. And so that's, awesome.
Yeah. I mean, talking about that, I'm just going to go off on a tangent a bit from that. The world of cinema and TV series that we don't know, you think, like, even in our world, we think we know a bit. We're maybe touching 5% of the content that's out there. And I mean that for real. I recently got access to Cannes series, not the Cannes film, but the Cannes series, which I didn't know was a thing. And there are a huge amount of series that they are showcasing that stuff I've never even heard of, like
Really?
doesn't even crop up. I mean, they had one random one there, like Halo, that is like part of the thing. It was like, oh, that's everybody's heard of the Halo TV series, which is coming out soon. But there are really interesting stuff, world cinema docus that that we've not even heard of, that were just our world cinema knowledge is minimal, and that's only from what Netflix has allowed us to see, because I use Netflix as it because Apple are starting to get into the docuseries and HBO are trying, but really Netflix is the one that's like grabbing stuff from all over, is representative of 200,
so many of
and
them,
there's a lot of like nonsense that isn't great at all, but
sure,
we're starting to get there. We're getting there. 5% there.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So Disney dropped a new film called Cheaper by the Dozen, like a remake of the remake of the two other films. And we lasted 20 minutes, and I only started because I like Zach Braff. I expected this to be cheesy, but it was cheesy wooden. Sure. It was cheesy bad. The jokes weren't landing. And so I turned it off. I was like, I love you, Zach. I do. I think you're awesome. I just, I think this is really aimed at very young. Rather than family, I think it's aimed at young. Because we love cheese and I love bad films. And I just, I couldn't handle it. It's not mad, like it's not acted badly. It just, like some of the kids just don't feel like they're acting. They more feel like they're reading lines, or it's reactive to what's on screen. And the forced humor, it's all of that kind of straight to DVD or Disney movie, and it has that feel rather than this is Cheaper by the Dozen. And it actually, if you go back and watch Cheaper by the Dozen, hilarious, actually still really works. But that's because you've got an iconic father lead. And I think Zach is great, but unless you've got a tight script and that iconic lead, then it's just not going to work. So anyway, we switched it off. And we put on Avatar, because we've been talking about Avatar. Literally the blue Smurfs,
James Cameron,
the tall Smurfs.
Yeah, okay.
And I was amazed at how this is still stood up. We were like watching this, like, oh my gosh, this looks great still, like seriously good. So we were talking about like while watching, because we've seen it so many times. We were talking like, okay, so what's Cameron gonna do with Avatar 2? Because it is definitely coming out this year now, December sometime, and I think 3/4 of the film is underwater, and this is where he's had home in, because The Abyss and Titanic. Every time he does a film, he changes cinema, so it brought us into the conversation of, is he gonna force a new sort of 3D stuff? Because if anybody could do it, it would be him, because he's the one that started the whole 3D trend. It was only Avatar. It was, all cinemas had to change their projectors into real 3D. That was the stipulation. They had to do it. It cost them a bit of money, but they did it. And Avatar became the highest grossing film of all time, without needing 18 films to back it up into making, people that go to me, but Endgame. I like Endgame, but it didn't have 18 films up to lead up to that. So that was interesting. We didn't watch the whole thing because it was really late by then, because we needed a comedy or something lighter from the film we had just watched, which was Fresh, because this came out on Disney. And my wife and I, we were like, I love these actors. These guys are so good. She's really found a great guy. Why do I get a really weird, creepy vibe from him, though? So you've seen this, hey? Yeah. And you kept telling me to watch it, Ruben. It's great. I'm like, okay. I like me some Disney dude. He is he's not Disney dude in this. He's not Marvel hero in this film, is he?
No. And he doesn't have a talking penis in this one either, but it's still, and it's two films. Isn't it crazy? Because like 40 minutes in is when the title comes out.
I literally said, why is the title coming on that? And the credits. It's brilliant, because we had our rom-com and then we get the movie. Yes.
Yeah. And it starts out, that whole, almost commentary on the modern dating scene.
Totally is.
You know, and then you see her, she connects with
You're
somebody
rooting for her.
that
whole
gets
movie
along.
was great.
Yeah,
It was a good movie.
Yeah, and then it just goes, whoa, hey. So thank you for coming to this.
If
now
you
we're
want
going to show
exit,
you really where
now's
we
the
want
time.
you to go.
Please use the store.
Yeah, we've shown you the credits, so you can.
And then it got dark, and I was like, "What is this film?" It's interesting because you don't actually ever see him doing anything to bodies, like on the person. They show it on the table. They show the actor, or they show a piece of meat where he's a surgeon and an amazing cook. I reckon human tastes great. Just gonna put it out there. I reckon it's probably just like a good chicken. What do you reckon, Chris?
I'm going to disagree with you. I've met people.
Wait,
I have interacted with people. No, not cannibals. Just people in general. And I don't like most people.
Right.
So I think they would taste.
Oh,
bad.
I see what you're saying. I've met most people, and I don't. Yeah, because it's interesting. He has that line where he says, "You need to keep calm and rested because being anxious and depressed isn't good for the meat." And I'm like, dude, you said that with such a straight face. Like, seriously.
Oh my gosh.
I have to say, he was fantastic. Sebastian Stan, brilliant in this role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you ever see? I'm going to take us off on another tangent, but that's okay. You watched the IT Crowd, right? So, do you remember the episode where Moss and Roy want to watch this movie, and then Moss ends up going over, or Roy can't watch the movie because everybody keeps spoiling it for him, so he's trying to stay away from it. And Moss ends up going over to a cooking class, what he believes is a cooking class, but it's really a German guy who wants to eat him.
Yeah. I love his innocence because he finds himself in situations that people shouldn't, but because of his innocence, he's just like doesn't know what's going on really.
Yeah. Well, and then Roy agreeing to be eaten just so he can watch the movie on the huge TV. Anyway, sorry. Sebastian Stan, the Back to Fresh was spectacular in this, and Daisy Edgar Jones was also. I really liked her. You know, I didn't know. I think the first time that I've seen anything with her was in Normal People, that series on Hulu also, and at least in the U.S. Is it on?
No, I've never seen it.
Is it on?
No,
Amazon Prime for you guys? Oh, okay. It was really good. But this movie was just it was bonkers.
Loved it,
dark.
and so did Kirsten. She was like, "Wow." Yeah. The only thing we didn't like is right at the end when the credits have started rolling, the real credits. They give us this shot of guys around the table, all eating, and we thought it was absolutely redundant. You didn't need it in the film at all because they had already closed it off, and it felt great. It felt finished, and then they brought it back like it was an end credit scene or something. I was like, I really don't understand the purpose of that shot. It felt like it ruined because we were thinking about the film. And it, we're stewing it, and then they put this shot in. I was like, "Don't do that. That makes you feel like you're an afraid director. You're not quite sure, so I want to put everything in. Just give it more. You want to force it in.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, but other than that, I thought for real a 5-star film. Very, very good. Interesting story. Very different.
Yes.
Which makes me want to go
so.
and watch Raw, which I haven't seen, but I believe is the same director.
I haven't seen that either, and people have recommended that to me over the years, and like, you really should check this out. And I don't know if it was on Netflix for a while.
It must be around. I'm sure we can find it, but it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it just seemed like one of those movies that I have to be kind of in the mood for, that you don't. Especially because I know what the concept kind of is, that it's not like, oh yeah, okay, I'm just going to sit down and watch this. Let me grab some food also while I do that.
We always do that. We find the grossest stuff when we just sit down with it. Like, why am I watching this? We used to do that with the Bones series. I don't know if you've ever watched Bones, but it's seriously grim when they do the body part. Like they excelled at doing the grossness. And we sit down and we're like, oh, damn it, it's Bones.
Well, there's a movie coming out in April called You Won't Be Alone. and it's
Right.
with Numi Rapace. And do not eat
Okay.
during that one. Just
Fair enough.
fair warning
Okay.
there. Yeah. Can I give you a couple of
Sure.
stories?
I'm
before you
done.
continue?
That's all of my titles. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so really quickly, going back to Zach Braff, Cheaper by the Dozen. That bums me out that the movie's not good because I was looking
Maybe you
forward
like
to it.
it.
I didn't think, I didn't have high expectations. But to hear Wooden, and like
Yeah.
like
It just doesn't.
stiff acting and really geared more towards the
Yeah.
young audience. Yeah, that bums me out a little bit. But three quick things, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, a couple years ago, the last time that we went to Disneyland in 2019, I saw Zach Braff and
Nice.
Florence Pugh and a couple of their friends.
Where's- what-
walking through. And so
What's
that was
Florence Pugh
kind of
doing
cool.
hanging out with Zach Braff. Oh, they really?
They're dating. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, have been
Okay.
for a while. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and she's little.
She looks little,
She's
but yeah.
not a tall person by any means. Yeah. So it was just kind of cool. I mean, I didn't stop them.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't.
You know,
'cause
I
they're in there.
kind of nodded, and
Yeah.
they were there to have fun. You know what I mean? And we were walking one way. We were walking past the Matterhorn on the outer side, and they were walking like towards the Matterhorn, towards what could be even like the Star Wars land there. And so, I mean, we made eye contact. You know, I was like, I acknowledged who he was. He smiled, kept going. I didn't even try to stop them or anything else. And, you know, my kids saw him too, and they were just like, oh, that's cool. You know, and we kept going. My youngest son and I listen actually to a lot of podcasts. We listen to ours as well, because it's always good to critique. But one of the podcasts we listen to is a Scrubs
Oh my gosh.
rewatch party, which it is Zach Braff and Donald Faison. And it's called Fake
Nice.
Doctors, Real Friends with Zach and Donald. And brilliant. It is so good. I mean, it is. So if you're looking
am
for a
actually.
new podcast outside of the best things we watched this week, you know, for anybody who you're looking for podcasts, listen to ours first, then go on to that one. But especially if you're a Scrubs fan, it's spectacular. I mean, they go through episode by episode, but then it's mixed with so much other just randomness of their lives. So good. Zach Braff also has a brother who wrote a book that I read a bunch of years ago called The Unthinkable Thoughts of Jacob Green. And check that one out.
Nice.
That is a good book to read.
Okay.
Outstanding there. Okay. Last thing, Avatar. For Avatar 2, because, you know, I'm learning sign language, and I'm taking some deaf classes. You know, in Baby Driver, I think his name was Joseph, who is Baby's Baby actually is taking care
the
of
kind
him,
of
but he's
surrogate
like
father.
the roommate.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the African American.
Fantastic accent. Yeah.
Yeah, who's deaf. Well, he's a deaf actor. I mean, he's really deaf. James Cameron tapped him for Avatar 2 to create Na'vi
That's
sign
so
language.
cool. That's amazing.
Yeah, so hearing that it's underwater,
Maybe
I wonder
that's
if
why.
that's going
That
to come
makes
into
sense,
play
actually.
with some of how they
Yeah.
how they communicate that way. Anyway, I just thought, like, I had forgotten that it was underwater, but I actually had to do a report for one of my classes, and so I chose C.J. Jones, who was the actor for that. And yeah, and one of the things I found out is creating a form of sign language for the Na'vi.
That is
I'm like,
great.
dude, how do you even do that? I mean, I know that they created the spoken language, and I think Zoe Saldana helped with that also. But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
I'm getting excited for Avatar 2. You know, I'm not holding out hopes that it's going to be like the most original story, but what he does do is great hero moments. And then with the technology and the scope of what he builds, it's just going to be a ride.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting so long. It's got to be good, because if it's not, he will never make a film again.
Yes.
Because it's
no
400 million. Yeah. And they've been building that for years.
and it's coming out this year.
Yeah. 2's coming out this year,
right?
and then I
Well,
think
it's this year. It's 2022.
and then
right?
this year, and then
Subsequent
23,
years after that?
24,
Okay.
25. Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's everything.
So those are the best things we watched,
Yep.
right? Are we gonna? Do we need to have the discussion? Do we want to have the discussion?
Yes. Let's have the worst thing we watched this week.
Okay, so this is going to have spoilers in it because, just because. Adrian Lyne, is that how you pronounce his last name? Lynn Lyne. Anyway, it's been 20 years since that director has directed a movie.
This is why.
And now comes out with Deep Water. This movie, and he didn't even write it. That's the other thing. That it's written off. It's based off of a novel that then they turned into a screenplay. And coming
from Poison Ivy, 9.5 weeks, you really expect this film to be raunchy for one thing. So I know like young guys maybe taking their partners or whatever, just couples thinking, oh, this is going to be a nice raunchy. Maybe we can make this like a romantic thing. We're going to, because. Yes,
erotic thriller, right?
It isn't even that erotic or thriller-ish. Like, there are moments where they allude to things and there is nudity in it, but it's just like, this is not even close to pushing the bar of what we've seen in erotic thrillers. Not even close. So why do you call it that? Because I heard people calling this Ben Affleck's, softcore porn, but it isn't.
No, what? No,
There's barely a sex scene.
Yeah, and I think really what the draw would be, especially, is playing up Ana de Armas, just her sensuality and stuff like that. But the movie, the story is terrible. You have why give us this setup of this mystery of surrounding. Oh gosh, okay. Should we back up? I mean, the premise is you have. Yeah,
we should back up. We've just gone off into tangent. Like, what on earth are you talking about?
So you have this relationship between this guy, Ben Affleck, husband and wife, Ben Affleck, Ana de Armas, that is absolutely contentious. They will not divorce. He will not divorce her. She won't leave him. And I think she won't leave him because he's a millionaire or a billionaire from an app that he developed that just gave him crazy amounts of money. But she does nothing but sleep around, and he knows it. And there's, I guess, maybe some sick voyeuristic thing that he has within that. I don't know if it.
I don't get it, because during the film, like, she's like, "Don't touch me," and then the scene later, she's all over him. Yeah, and then there's like, of course she's not sleeping around, and then she's sleeping around. And then, like, it's literally, like, what are you trying to play at? Like, we understand, we see it. So why are you trying to keep the mystery of something that isn't a mystery?
Well, and one of the things that I don't understand in this is that he seems to be turned on by it and then pissed off by it at the exact same time. And that...
Okay, so spoilers, he's definitely pissed off about it.
Yes. Well, and so, okay, so the mystery... The mystery comes. At one point, he's talking to one of her flings, and this dude happens to sound and look like he is a Brad Pitt knockoff.
Oh, he really
my
does,
gosh,
doesn't he?
Especially if you don't look at him, but then if you look at his mouth, the way that the words are formed, it...
Like back when Brad was doing California. Yeah, man. Whoa. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So he tells this guy, oh, you heard about this one dude who's been missing? Yeah. I killed him.
Yeah, just straight out. Plain voicing.
Now, this
monologuing.
The doubt that's created in that, because it freaks the guy out, obviously, because Ben Affleck is playing, I mean, he's straight-laced about it. He's very matter-of-fact. He's very actually threatening, but in a nice way. Had they...
Which is more threatening, I think.
Totally. Had they kept that mystery, though, I think that would have played in, because now it's the doubt of, well, is he telling the truth? Because this guy is missing. I mean, we hear the news reports and stuff. So the dude is missing. And we see that Ben Affleck is not happy that his wife is sleeping around, but he's not going to divorce her or any, you know what I mean? And so, okay. So if...
Well, I get her not divorcing a little bit because there's a kid at play. So, trying to protect her and giving... But they don't really go into that. But the little bit we do see of the kid, I thought she was excellent. Like, I actually thought she was smart. She was obviously playing them against each other because she knew that her parents were like have a very messed up, broken relationship, like playing the
Old
music
MacDonald
over and over and over. Oh my god,
that would drive me nuts.
She obviously doesn't like the song, but yeah, I get it.
But
then getting to the end, we've had all the reveals. We know he is killing off her lovers.
But why?
Right?
But why do they need to tell us that ruined all the suspense, right? I mean, or the mystery, because once they revealed that Ben Affleck wasn't the killer of that dude who had gone missing. Okay, awesome.
Well, I think the reveal of the ending is that she's not gonna leave him. That she's gonna keep sleeping around and basically keep supplying the next bodies for him to kill.
Well, yeah.
So they're in a. That's because that's the moral of the story.
Because she says, because he says when he says, you think I killed him, talking to the Jacob Elordi who dies in a pool, and she goes, yeah, I know you did, and doesn't that make you afraid? And she goes, no, because I'm the one you killed for. Okay, so that's sick right there anyway. But so she has this power even more so.
But now she's complicit because
totally.
she's basically, she'll sleep with the guys and then wait for them to be knocked off. And basically she knows that whoever she chooses next is going to die.
Yeah.
And she knows what her husband's doing.
Yeah.
So she's a willing participant in that. I don't like either of these characters.
No.
I wasn't rooting for them at all. I didn't care. Like, I wanted that guy that had the side storyline who found out about him. I wanted him to get away.
Oh, see, I didn't want him to I didn't want him to get away either.
I kept like, dude, you're driving too fast. This is gonna just slow down. You're fine.
How predictable and terrible is that ending, though? I mean, wouldn't it have been more fitting for him to run over Ben Affleck and then die?
That actually would have been a better ending.
See,
if they'd run him over, he died that way. The other guy died that way. Or
how about there's so many different ways that this could have gone. I would have loved for Tracy Letts' character, who is this crime writer, to have been the one killing. You know what I mean? That becomes the twist. That
that would have been
because he's pushing the agenda that Ben Affleck's character is the one that's killing.
Maybe he's obsessed with the wife.
Maybe
that would have been
or
different.
Just obsessed with his own. I mean, we see how into himself he is, where he's written the screenplay about himself. And so that wouldn't that be an interesting story as well? But
he needs some good content to write about.
None of that.
So he creates it.
There is nothing obscured in this. Like, they tell us what it is. They show us what it is, and there's no mystery to it. And so I
hate this movie.
The more that it kept going on, it's like, why are you doing this? And you're right. When she's in the car and she's like, don't touch me. And then the very next scene, they're all over each other. My wife was like, where did we miss something? What? And I'm like, no, this is just par for the course, because this is it's
a dumb movie.
It is. Like, none of it logically makes any sense. Like, from a story.
You tell me in any way how this furthers cinema in any way. Like, what creatively did this bring to the table that was what not to do?
Maybe.
How to waste a budget? Maybe. This is as an example of A-list actors with an erotic director that has done some that in the past people kind of liked. So maybe you could do it, and you put those together. Still doesn't make. If you don't have a tight script, you don't have a decent story, you're not, even with those actors, you're not going to come to anything.
Well, and
it's not their fault, is it? They are acting.
No,
what they've been given. That's their job. They got paid. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't think. I mean, I think the actors did a good job at creating the characters that they're supposed to create. I mean, Ana de Armas is she's self-absorbed, just very hedonistic, very I only care about me. She's very selfish, and she's also manipulative, because she knows exactly what she's doing to Ben Affleck. And he is some kind of psychotic sadist. or masochist, or whatever, the enjoys being tortured by this view. You know what I mean? He
I mean, you had to have known he was a serial killer when he had all those snails, right?
why I see. Okay,
That's a weird.
the
It's just weird.
the only purpose for the snails is at the very end where she steps on one. And so then she examines, why is it out? So then she finds the wallet hidden in that thing, which,
So you telling me they built that into the story? Big part of his character. How much he's in love with snails.
what else is, for what other reason? It's been established you don't eat them. And there's no other reason that it's just a quirk that he has. But here's the thing too.
Snails stink, by the way, as well.
Do they? I kill them because they eat my plants.
A friend of mine had giant snails as like pets, and they stink.
That's weird. Okay, so Ben Affleck is highly intelligent. I mean, he is.
Yeah.
It's been established. I mean, he developed this app that is, and the microchip that allows drones to search and stuff. So he's a smart guy. He's educated. Mm-hmm. So when he kills the dude at the lake or at the gorge or whatever that thing is, he takes off his own belt to wrap around the guy. He uses the dog's leash to wrap around the guy, but then he takes the wallet and keeps it.
Yeah, I don't understand any of his thinking. I also got the feeling that he'd done this a number of times before, and that's how he reacts to it. Like, I just
see. I thought that the first time was in the pool. I thought that was his first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that he that the rage finally got up to him. Okay. You know, either way though, I mean, if you're highly intelligent like that and you have time. You know what I mean? Like, he had some. I understand panicking because maybe you didn't necessarily expect that to happen. But come on, you threw a rock at the dude and hit him in the head, and then you were picking up a giant rock to smash his skull in. So
he knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, there's planning that's going on here, even in the moment. And so it just so much wrong.
Yeah, it's not what I would have done.
No,
and I'm not even that smart, so I don't get it. Yeah, it's badly written.
It really is. Well, and why not just keep the dude where he fell? You know what I mean? Because then it looks like an accident. Because truly, he's hit his head. He's tumbled down. Everything about that setting is very natural. You know, as long if you don't touch him, he was walking along and fell.
Yep.
And died. And there you go.
Yeah.
You know, sure, the question remains of how did he get there? But the question now is, why is he weighted down with rocks under the water? That, you know, with somebody else's belt.
Stop prodding him with a stick. Yeah.
This was not the best thing we watched this week.
This was not the best thing we watched this week.
No. Terrible.
But the rest of the stuff was, so that's okay.
Yeah. Did you know that Adrian Lyne did Jacob's Ladder? He directed Jacob's Ladder.
No, I didn't know.
I loved that movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. It messed with me.
Weird ass film.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was trying to get us on something more positive than Deepwater.
Okay.
Oh, well, I think that means we've reached the end. Yeah. So, hey, if you want to continue on and listen to us more, head over to the audio-only version where any podcasting platform that you happen to listen to, we should be there. While you're there, rate and review us, please. That would help out a ton. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched, or hit us up on our respective channels. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris with Movies and Munchies. Also, don't forget to take a look at our Patreon. 2 different levels there of support that just help us continue this on. There are investments that we make to make this show actually happen, and so we would appreciate any support that you have. And we're putting new content up each week. And as Ruben had teased, we are having a battle this weekend, and I'm going to win. Ruben doesn't know it yet, but he is about to lose hard.
You laugh at the most ridiculous
I
things.
do. Well,
Chris.
I have to.
reckon
I mean, we have to set some
like
ground
30
rules there
seconds.
because can I laugh at my own jokes? That's the thing. If I can laugh at my own jokes, then I'm going to be okay. But I do. I love dad jokes. I love terrible jokes. They're just. Oh, well, on that note, hey, hit us up. The link to the Patreon is in the descriptions below. We'd appreciate you at least taking a look at it. And okay, we'll see you next week.